They can get an AMS potion on their heroes so you can't siphon the mana. I mean, there's a lot of different things that they could do, and they probably have an expansion and you don't because you straight tagged and they were able to grab an expansion. I mean, there's just a lot of things to consider. You can work with it all you like, but I think it's one of those strategies that are great because if you haven't faced them before, you may not know what to do, and they have an advantage like that. But I don't think it would last at a high level because if someone faced, like a pro Night Elf, if he faced it 10 times in a row, he would gain an idea of exactly what to do and exactly how to exploit the weaknesses of the strategy. It's kind of like most other strategies I've spoken about. This is from D3D. This is, you said you watched a lot of replays. I was wondering if you had seen a replay where Undead choose Solo Panda versus Human, or can I say I invented it? Plus, have you ever seen anyone use Goo Gargs versus Human that go Arcane Sanctums except Mad Frog? Nice audios you have anyways. Right. Thank you, D3D. No, I don't think I've seen Solo Panda much against Human. Certainly, like, if you play someone like Axslav, he'll probably do it versus you eventually. And I have faced it before, but not really a good player or anything, so I guess you could say you invented it, but I'm sure someone else has tried it at some time, but no one's really made a successful strategy out of it. And the Ghoul Garg, Ghoul Garg was popular for a while, like early TFT, and in ROC and stuff. Ghoul Garg was pretty good against Human, and it still is good. I think it's underused as a surprise strategy. Like, when I play on Asia, occasionally someone will go Ghoul Garg against me, and when it catches me off guard, it totally blows because, oh man, it just sucks. Like you're going to tier 3 and all you have is foots, and all you think he has is ghouls. Then he starts harassing your peasants with Gargs, and you're like trying to construct towers while your AM with the water elementals camp in your base, and like you're trying to get rifles up, and it just gets real frustrating. So I think it's underused as a surprise thing, but certainly it's counterable if you know it's coming. So I don't know. All right, this is a question from Nafio. And no problem for answering your last question. He says, I've been trying different things versus different strats and learning from what I lose to. Usually destroyers do too much if I have some dryers, and I figured out if I get the high level and such MK Pally as fast as possible. Then in heads up, I decimate their heroes, then to their armies with Night Gyrocaster. So for my question, I was wondering, what do you do when someone pulls out a wand of LS on a map like TR or something where you can creep out the orange and find a wand of LS? Do you just try to run your peasants away? Just wondering what to do, because sometimes it's annoying to lose 4 or 5 my peasants for one of their foots or ghouls. He says, I also tried out AM Alk versus Orc on my friend, and it surprisingly worked well. He got a Naga because we both met at Tavern. Later the Alk ran over the Naga with FS such bomb rage, and I could focus the rest of his army. And thanks again, Noconce. I appreciate your help. No problem. Yeah, against LS, usually the best thing to do is just run out your peasants. Usually you have your... It depends, it depends on where your army is. It can depend on what the situation is. If your army is there and attacking them, or if it's not there, it kind of depends on what you do. But generally what I do is I call the arms and I just keep setting them out through my choke points where his Archmage or LS shit can't fit, and I'm just trying to avoid the LS most of the time. But sometimes, if he just sends in one unit and like my army's fighting the rest of his army, I'll just kill it with militia or something of the sort. So it depends. It's something you get a feel for. It's not. Just watch Top Human against Human replays and stuff, and you'll eventually see LS, especially on Turtle Rock or Norwood or LT, and you can watch how they handle it. AM Alk against Orc. It's funny. For a while, Insomnia was talking about this. This was like in 1.18. Insomnia had this Archmage Alchemist strat that I never saw a replay of. I mean, I was looking for replays of it. I never saw a replay of it. But him and Todd were talking about, Insomnia seemed to be convinced that it was going to like revolutionize Human against Human against Orc, I remember Todd was talking about Insomnia's Gosu Alchemist strat against Orc, and I always really wanted to see what it was. And I saw in his games listing that he did use it in ladder and stuff, but then out of nowhere he just stopped using it, so he must have found some flaw with it. But the main problem I have with heroes like Alchemists in Human against Orc is that really the best armies against Orc, with the exception of if you want to try tier 3 strategies or something, but usually it's just mass casters, which they themselves generally don't do a whopping amount of damage to the Orc army. Usually casters are just kind of support for the heroes. Like if you look at anything, like when I do Archmage Panda, all the damage I'm doing to the Orc army comes from my heroes. Really, the casters are just support for the damage that my heroes do. And Archmage Beastmaster are the same. I mean, the casters are just support for the heroes, and the heroes themselves add, like, a bear is like 2 bears is like 4 grunts, and 3 quills is like 5 rifles, and 3 water elementals is like 5 rifles. So it's like your heroes are creating their own army, and your casters are just supporting it. So Alchemist is generally good for amplifying the amount of damage the army does, which is why I don't really use it in Human against Orc, is because my army doesn't do a great deal of damage, so there's no real point in amplifying it. I'd rather have a hero that he himself does a great deal of damage. But I did try out Alchemist for a while because of heal spray to negate AoE, but ultimately I didn't like it. But hey, if you want to keep trying it and keep working with it, go for it. I don't know if I already shouted out to Stavo or Stavo, but shout out to him. So I was playing, this is from Bahrain. I was playing against this UD. He mass schools and eventually mass guards with DK Lich. I chose MK Pally with footies to rifles casters. I tried tier 1 rush with mass footies and MK. The UD had the advantage after the battle since I tried ever so close to kill the DK 8 HP, but couldn't